This, I've decided to call it In Defense of Elon Musk and SpaceX. I'm wondering how many of us here presently own a Tesla? And you think it's a good car?
Oh my goodness.
All right. 4 co-workers of my wife recently got Teslas, 3 of them Teslas 3, and I and my wife went on separate drives with one of the owners. I've seen the future, and it's an absolutely incredible car. Incredible car, and I think that within a decade probably, most cars that will be sold in the United States and around the world are going to be electric cars, and I think Tesla will be a big part of that, especially since they're, yes?
The car drove me here from Michigan.
Did you have to tip it? Oh, okay. Didn't have plenty of gas in it? It didn't cost a lot of money? Okay.
It's free. It's
Now-
free.
Excuse me. Okay. Now, Elon Musk has pointed out that there's been a tremendous, and we've all seen it, barrage of anti-Tesla, anti-SpaceX, anti-Elon Musk, of course, propaganda that we've seen in much of the mass media. And a powerful coalition of fossil fuel producers, Boeing, Lockheed, a lot of people have been ganging up on them because they fear competition. They know that SpaceX and their their heavy Falcon rocket and the spaceship are a threat to the SLS, and the Tesla is a threat to the gasoline and diesel engine cars. Big threat. So they carried out a lot of lies, misrepresentations, distortions about SpaceX and Elon Musk. That he's some kind of a irrational character with these pipe dreams about going to Mars. He makes cars, they all catch on fire. Yours didn't, right? They catch on fire. They run into other cars. Terrible guy. Entire websites have been created that do nothing but attack Musk, SpaceX, Tesla, the Boring Company, which isn't that boring really, and any other ventures he's been involved in. They claim, they have nice sounding names for a lot of these outfits. The well-funded outfits that attack them, like the Citizens for the Republic. Now, what citizens could be against the Republic except perhaps for our current occupant of the Oval Office, according to some people? Or Citizens in Defense of Freedom. Taxpayers for Mom and Apple Pie. A lot of innocent sounding names. Sound really nice. But behind the scenes are being funded with millions of dollars, skilled propagandists, attacking. And they do break through on the mass media with those attacks. One major claim of a major anti-Musk website is that SpaceX has defrauded taxpayers, that would be most of us, out of billions of dollars, defrauding us. That's a serious charge, and if you defraud taxpayers and the government out of billions of dollars, you'll probably be going in prison, or you should be. However, they include in that category of defraud is that, like for SpaceX, is the fact that the government has, the Department of Defense and NASA has paid SpaceX to get their payloads up. They call that a fraud. I don't know, they've done very well in getting the Department of Defense and NASA satellites up and reaching the International Space Station. They consider that part of the fraud of the American taxpayer. That's a costly mistake. And then some have gone so far now as to indicate that the United States should not be at all interested, and certainly not using SpaceX to do it, shouldn't be interested in waste money on going to Mars. A outspoken person that has been writing a lot about we shouldn't be going to Mars is a fellow by the name of McKinnon, who has written and been interviewed for Fox News. He said not long ago, President Trump has the opportunity to make America great again in space. But this will only be possible if President Trump does not buy the Mars snake oil. That's some, guess who? Including companies standing to make massive profits off of manned Mars exploration. The snake oil that Elon Musk and others are peddling. He suggests that some of these corporations, like SpaceX, of course, and Elon Musk, is mainly motivated because he wants to enrich himself. Like he doesn't have enough money now. He wants to just personally enrich himself. And it's just, and he's just greedy, that he plans to, I guess, do a lot of mining on Mars, bringing back we don't know what. But it's clear that is not Elon's motivation. It's not greed. For some time, he's wanted to go to the stars like us, to the other planets in our solar system, but especially Mars. Now, Musk has pointed out there's been some really messed up coverage in the media, and he's tried to counter that as much as he can. He said that, he's given a couple examples. For example, we've all read about these Tesla cars catching on fire, right? I think there were 3 of them maybe even 4 last year that caught on fire. The batteries caught on fire. Those incidents made national news, front page of newspapers, a Tesla caught on fire. How many gasoline or diesel engine cars have caught on fire in the past year, and have there been blaring headlines about these gas cars catching fire when you get into an accident? Not much at all. A few people have a thing now. You have your key to use a Tesla, or you can use your cell phone to summon it, to command it, to come to you, or go somewhere, or do something, or to unlock. You can use your cell phone. But naturally, you're going to have your key on you, just in case something goes wrong. Well, a couple people complained they could not get in their cars because their cell phone was not unlocking their car. And that made newspaper headlines. Well, why didn't you use your key? Well, I thought I just need a cell phone to open my car. I mean, what kind of advanced car is that where you need a key? You know? One headline said, driver stranded after Tesla's app goes down for hours. Well, the ones who had their keys with them, they weren't stranded at all. We know there were problems with the production, boosting up the production of Tesla, where their goal was to be able to make around 500,000 or so a year. And they had all kinds of production problems. So a headline in the paper recently was, Tesla shares tumble after delivering a record 97,000 vehicles in the third quarter. A record, 97,000 cars in the third quarter. That's over 1,000 a day. But the shares tumbled because they fell 2,000 short of their goal. In the previous month, they sold again, around 95,000 cars. They're reaching their production goal, which I think is right now about 500,000 a year, and they're making over 1,000 a day, and it keeps going up. They solved their production problems, but they made a big deal of it. One thing that you have in the market, now I don't play the market, I'm not a day trader, I'm not a night trader, not even an afternoon or morning trader, but you've got some people who do nothing but trade on the markets, hoping the stock goes down, not up. They're called short sellers. And they're in this market anytime there's anything at all negative, and some of the stuff is things they just make up, they try to drive the stock down and sell and make a killing. Tesla is the biggest short selling stock in the entire stock market. Those are the greedy ones, hoping things go wrong. If something doesn't go wrong with a Tesla, they'll make it up to try and drive the stock down. Now, there's been a lot of stuff about negative publicity about Elon's tweets. Fortunately, he's not nearly as bad or good as Trump on that. He's had a few tweets which, I wish he would have said that. Wish he would have said that. One of them was regarding, remember when the students who were trapped in that cave in Thailand not too long ago? Elon thought, well, I'm going to see if I can help. He brought together from SpaceX and Tesla and Boring Company 50 really good engineers. And they tried to put together what they called a mini submarine that they thought might be helpful. They hoped it would be helpful. They took it over there and delivered it to the people who were trying to save those kids' lives and said, look, if your plan doesn't work, try ours. We hope you won't need to, but give it a shot. You know, we think it might work. You might save some lives. Well, they were very receptive and friendly, except for one rotten apple in the barrel. This one person involved said, well, we don't think it's going to work. It's not very helpful. And, well, okay, that's no problem. That's your opinion, you know. But then he had to deliver a shot to Elon by saying, and you should take your mini submarine and shove it up your ass. Elon did not take that kindly. In fact, I'm a Teamster retired, but if somebody had done that where I worked when I was in truck and told me or somebody else, hey, take that thing you're offering and shove it up your ass, they would have got popped. That's how things work. Oh, really? Shove this, you know? But Elon was very polite. He pointed out that he said, he spoke in anger, and because that fellow suggested I engage in a sexual act with a mini sub. So later, and he suggested this guy was a pedo because Thailand, that's been a place where a lot of pedophiles go. And it's only recently that the government and the regime in Thailand is beginning to really crack down on pedophiles who go there as tourists to try and exploit these young kids. And so he suggested the guy was a pedo. You know, he got mad, you know, he's a pedo. And then he apologized for it. And now the guy's, of course, suing Elon Musk for trying to make some money because he learned that Elon Musk has a lot of money. Then the last thing, something more recent that occurred, Elon Musk was interviewed on, I think it's a podcast, where, I forget the guy's name. I watched it.
Joe Rogan.
Right. And I think the guy, he had a bottle or something, so they shared a little shot of whiskey. Most Teamsters would find nothing wrong with that, you know, or others. All right, shot of whiskey, you can do that. And the broadcasters in California, the guy had some pot, allegedly, and he shared it with Musk. But if you watch the actual video, remember Clinton when he said, well, I had some pot, but I didn't inhale? Musk had some, but he did not inhale. Just watch it. He pretended to almost inhale, and he gave it right back, and he was trying to be cool. You know, that's okay. So, made a big deal of that. In fact, NASA was inspired to have a huge safety review of SpaceX because they were afraid that all these engineers and scientists in SpaceX, maybe they're all smoking on the job, and how the hell can they get any of these rockets off since they're high 90% of the time? So they had a huge safety review, and everybody's been cleared, and it's fine. Then we had the SEC action against Elon. He said something in a tweet that SEC was, he's trying to drive up the price of stock so he can make some money. He was charged with violating some rules, and they found him guilty, of course, and they fined him. They fined Tesla $20 million. They fined him $20 million. Nobody else who's done this tweeting. They said, they made an example of him. Here's what happens if you do something we don't like. But they suggested that that was the purpose of his tweet, to drive up the price of his stock, which is nonsense, of course. Now, one thing that is surprising, who's attacking him for that, there's been some reportage about Elon Musk and labor unions, that there's some kind of a serious attempt by the United Auto Workers to organize the 6,000 to 10,000, I'm not sure how many are there, workers at his plant in California, his auto plant. And the right wing, they're attacking Tesla and Elon Musk for being supposedly anti-union, because of course the conservatives are really for labor unions. Not at all. Now, I know something about organizing unorganized workers. First thing you have to have, if it doesn't exist, you just don't even consider it. There has to be some real discontent, real legitimate grievances in the workforce that workers are angry about. They're getting maybe low pay, few or if any benefits, forced overtime, really terrible conditions, and they want to do something about it. But if that feeling doesn't exist among the workers in that factory or office or wherever, if that doesn't exist there, you don't even consider organizing the union, because it's the workers who decide at that workplace if they want a union. Not the union, not the company, they decide. If they want a union, they'll vote for a union. If they don't, they'll vote against the union. It's up to them, not up to me, not up to the owner of a company. It's up to them. And Musk has indicated that he would be willing to have a vote tomorrow. If the union asks for a vote among all the workers, he says, sure, let them vote. If they vote for it, okay. If they vote against, okay. Let his workers decide there at that plant. And looking at this more closely, it's clear to me that the United Auto Workers is organizing what we would call a bogus union organizing drive. They're not serious. They're trying to impress somebody, like maybe Ford and Chrysler and General Motors. See, we're giving your competition, Tesla, some difficulties, some problems. And what can you do for us now? How can you help us? Because they haven't circulated one single union authorization card. They haven't had anything on their blog about this big organizing drive in half a year. They haven't, there isn't an organizing drive. They managed to get a handful of workers out of this huge plant together who, for one reason or another, don't like working for Tesla and have some grievances or problems, real or imagined, I'm not sure. But there's no ferment at that plant. There's no real movement at that plant to organize a union, because if there was, we would have had, in the past 3 years, a union representation election by now. But that's totally bogus, and I'm going to quit now. We've got 2 minutes, that's all, for comments or questions. So
You have 2 minutes more.
I have two, but what about time for questions or comments?
5 minutes.
Oh, okay, I thought, so it's a bogus drive, not a real attempt. Now, what can we do? Well, whenever you read anything really negative and questionable about Tesla or SpaceX or Musk, be careful. Try and find out, where's that propaganda coming from? Is it factual? Is it documented? Is it real? Or is that bogus too? And second, if you run into other people who say, well, Tesla's not, well, if you have a Tesla car, you can testify personally about your car, but if you don't have one, you can suggest to them. In fact, I'm suggesting that to everyone here, if you haven't done, who here who doesn't own a Tesla has been on a test drive in a Tesla?
2 days ago.
How was it?
That was great.
It was. How about the air conditioning? Isn't that, yeah. If there's a Tesla company or office near you, when you get back home, you and your spouse or friend, whatever, go out on a test drive to see what it's really like. It's an incredible car, and it's getting better every month with the new downloads coming every month, especially the summon feature now, which is pretty cool. They have a summon feature. Let's say you're in a big parking lot and you can't find your car, you don't want to bother, it's, by a shopping center or whatever, grocery store, and you click the summon thing, and the car it knows where you're at, and it starts worming its way toward you. You're summoning it, and it'll find you. It's not going to go 20 miles an hour in that parking lot. It'll find you. You summon it, and I don't know if the door opens automatically for you or not. Maybe.
Depends on the car.
Pardon?
Depends on the car.
Okay. So, test drive one. Okay, now we have time, not much, for questions or comments. So I know we're all in favor of Elon Musk and SpaceX. I'm kind of preaching to the crowd, but go ahead. Yes, sir.
Do Tesla employees have stock options or ownership?
They do have stock options. Yes, they do.
How does that affect
And in fact,
organizations?
well, according to the employees, you see, the United Auto Workers contracts for the past, especially since the Great Recession of a decade ago, a lot of givebacks. They've lost a lot of the benefits that they have, like some of their pensions are no longer there. A new employee at GM or one of the big three here where they're organized, they make about half the pay of a worker who's been there for 5 or 10 years with no prospects of getting full union benefits and pay. So they make less money, just in terms of cash, than Tesla workers. That's not an incentive to join the United Auto Workers. What, I'll work for half pay? No, thank you. Sir?
The Tesla car summon stick from the cell phone. So you're saying we could see cars riding in parking lots with no one in them? And second,
Which freaks out other people in the parking lot, probably.
what's the limit to that as far as like being a transport mode? Can it leave the parking lot? Does it have like a speed limit on it?
A Tesla owner can probably answer it
so-
better than me.
If you have the latest version of the car, that's where the smart summons works. Okay, so a car before 2016 or earlier isn't going to have that feature. It's all the newer cars. You don't have the smart, right?
Well, yeah, I should have. I got 2 people on the hardware.
Okay. So that used to be just a 30 feet back and forth. But with the smart summon, it's going to come where your phone is. So you just
From about 200 feet away, you
from
can,
about 250.
you can say just
I
come.
mean, it could only go in a straight line?
No, no.
No, it'll come out of
backs
the
out of parking
backs
lot.
out or comes out of the parking lot and finds its way through and comes to where you are.
That's the most they could do, just in the
Okay.
car.
now.
Right now.
For now, but every update, it gets better, smarter. more capabilities.
We got time for one or two more. Okay, and watch the clock now. Okay, sir.
What's the issue with that last complaint that I heard that he has not delivered a spaceship for the crew to go up?
The what?
The government's complaining about that?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't
First thing
quite
is just
get
that
the
he's all
question.
upset about
He was
the
worried about their doing all the
Starship
work on
without
Starship. They
completing
weren't doing the
crew demo.
That they haven't sent a crew that he's backlogged on delivering,
Oh, cars?
Nobody's
Nobody's
delivered.
Crew Dragon.
Boeing has.
Oh,
Mine
okay.
hasn't either, so.
Yeah, they're both behind, but I
It's
think,
kind of a
I
both
think
Starship.
Boeing with Starliner, I think it's falling farther behind,
Yeah, they just pushed it back
SpaceX
another
now.
6 months.
so,
NASA doesn't encourage anyone to build this road.
well, thank you.
One more for you.
Oh, go ahead.
You think, how do you feel about the Starship going direct to Mars, or do you think they should launch from Earth orbit to Mars?
I like Mars Direct, I like
Like
Moon
Mars
Direct.
Direct.
Yes, I agree with our president on that.
I'm here to secure Mars.
You want to head back to the other place? or-
Okay, thank you.
The next one's the Starship. Thank you. Thank you.